Good morning, everyone. It's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. So today we're going to look at some alternate ways to use the January paper pumpkin kit. So the kit is called Special Delivery, and it came with all the supplies you need to create 9 different cards, actually 3 of each of 3 different designs. And there's some coordinating envelopes and things in this month's kit. So what I want to do is just share some alternate ways that you can use the kit. So I've used both the envelopes and the supplies in the kit to create a variety of different alternate card ideas. So the nice thing about using the kit differently is you can create quite a few more cards. So with the designs that I'm going to share with you today, you're able to create right around 25, 24, 25 um, cards total instead of 9. So it's a great way to just kind of stretch your kit supplies and create more cards. All right, so let's take a look at these alternate designs. So these are the 4 designs that I'm going to walk you through and just show you some different ways to use the little postage die cut pieces that are in the kit, and of course, the stamp images. But before we get into these designs, what I want to share with you are the actual kit cards. So these are the cards that were designed to be put together, I guess, based on the kit supplies. So these are the 3 different designs. And I like to put together at least one of each of the designs as the kit intends. So that's what I have here. And I don't know on the back, yeah. So on the back here, you can see this is the card base from the kit. So I like to cut apart these card bases. Oops, let me open it here. I like to cut apart these card bases. I just basically cut them right down the score line. So you don't fold them, you just cut them right down the score line. And then you can use these 2 pieces as pattern paper layers on your card. Same thing with this. All the card bases typically have a pattern printed on both sides of the card. So that's what I did is I cut down the rest of the card bases and I used them as pattern paper on my cards. Now, the kit also came with some coordinating envelopes. So it has a nice little pre-printed postage shape right on the envelope. So they came in the green and the pink, and they came in blue. But unfortunately, I don't have a blue one to show you because I cut up all my blue envelopes. So here's what the pattern looks like on the blue one. But there are 9 envelopes that come in the kit as well. So I'm going to show you how I cut up those envelopes to make some alternate cards. So these are the cards that we're going to put together first. And I'm going to let me grab the original card. This is what the card looks like if you put it together in accordance with the kit. It's one big, large um, postage shape, and it has the pre-printed flowers on it. But for this design, what I actually did is I took that large postage shape and I cut it in half so that I could use a half to create 2 different cards instead of creating just one card. So that's where I got the pieces for these first 2 cards that we're going to put together. And so basically when you cut it in half, you cut it at about, let's see, 2.5 inches. So this postage shape is 5 inches. So just cut it at 2.5 and you'll have 2 different pieces that you can use. Okay, so let's start. Let's start with this one. Oops, there we go. So basically, I have a bunch of different pieces here. I'll just kind of walk you through how I did this. You're going to obviously need to use some of your own supplies. So this is just white cardstock, thick basic white, and it's just your standard A2 size card. So it's 5.5 by 4.25 when closed. And then I took one of those pink card bases from the kit and this is going to get adhered to cover the entire card front here, to cover the entire white card front. So let's go ahead and do that right away. So when you cut those kit card bases in half, you got two pieces that you can use. So that's what I'm doing here. Let me just scoot this around a little bit. All right, so then the next thing I did is I took one of the other kit card bases and I cut it to 4¼ by 1½. So it's 1½ inches wide. And that's going to go just on this side of the card front. And then because I cut that postage piece in half, this piece is going to go on this side. So it's going to go kind of like that. So I'm going to grab some Poppy Parade ink. So in this particular kit, it came with a little ink spot which was Poppy Parade. So I'm just going to use my Poppy Parade. So what I want to do here is I want to stamp a couple images. So we're going to stamp on this first. And we're just going to stamp some of the images from the set. I probably should show you what they look like. These are the images from the stamp set that came in the kit. So I just love all the different postage style images here. You can create some really fun vintage cards with the postage image. So we're going to use some of those images and just stamp on here. So we'll stamp this little airmail. And I'm using Poppy Parade. And then we'll stamp this little heart. All right, so let's go ahead and add this one. We're just going to add this right here. And then we can add our piece of pattern paper, which is actually one of the designs from the kit, one of the card-based designs. So we'll add that on there. And then I have a couple other pieces here from the kit. So just a plain postage piece and then this little pre-printed circle shape. So let's go ahead and put our greeting on there. We'll just use the Sending Love. And we'll continue with Poppy Parade for this card. And then up at the top here, I used one of those other images from the set, from the kit. So let's stamp this up probably right around here, I guess. And then this is just going to go on here to just kind of take up some of that white space, pink space, I guess. Take up some pink space with this white postage stamp here. And then let's add this. I just got to find my dimensionals. And then this will just kind of go off to the side. So it just kind of fills in that space over there pretty nicely. And then in the kit, there are some little floral pieces that you can pop up right on the floral design that's on this little postage stamp here. So let's see, which way does this go? Here we go. So we'll pop these up on the card. So it's just a fun way to use that kit piece differently to create two different cards. So this is the first card. And then the second card, which uses the other side of this postage stamp, this large one, is going to be this one. So for this one, let me grab my supplies here. So we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to start with a piece of white cardstock for the base of the card. So it's an A2 size card. And we're just going to use this pink um, piece from the kit. So this is one of the card bases again. All right, and then we are going to use that other pink card base. And this one is 1.5 by 5.5. So this one has like that little plaid design on it. So it's 1.5 by 5.5. And we are going to add this. Add that on that side. And then we have our postage stamp, which goes here. And for this one, actually, I don't have another one of these circle shapes. So I just die cut one from a piece of white cardstock, just using the Stylish Shapes dies. Hopefully I made it big enough. But there were 4 of these pink ones in the kit. So I've used all 4, so I needed something else for this one. So this one's going to go like this on the card. But we need to stamp, let's stamp our other little image down here, this little love image. So let's do this. We'll stamp that on there. This will come back down. And then let's stamp our airmail up at the top. We'll stamp that here. And then we'll add our little hearts. And then that is what our design looks like. And so this circle shape is a little bit smaller, obviously, than this one. So I was kind of thinking maybe, you know me and my doilies, I was kind of thinking maybe I should add a doily here. Let's see how this looks. A little quarter piece of a doily. I can get it under there. Just to kind of take up some of that space. And then this could go off to the side. So that actually looks pretty good. So I think we're going to go with that. Just kind of go with the flow. So there, now you get another alternate design. So that kind of looks good, just like that. So let's add this. Oop. Let's move it down a little bit. All right, and then we'll add our little sending love here. And then this can just kind of go off to the side. So that kind of fills in a little bit there, since I'm using a little smaller greeting, but you get the idea. So I think I actually stamped some stuff on the inside too. Yeah. So you can use those images to decorate the inside. You can use some of the leftover card bases to decorate the inside. So lots of different things that you can do with this kit. All right, so these are, let me show you those again. So these are the 2 cards that I created with just this one large postage stamp that came in the kit. Just cut it in half and you can create these 2 cards. All right. Okay, so there's two. Let's look at another card idea. So here's where I used the envelope. I cut up the blue envelope from the kit, and I got a bunch of different pieces here. This particular kit came with all kinds of little postage stamps. So you have these little pre-printed postage pieces that came in the kit. So that's what we're using to create all of these cards. And let me just show you, where did it go? This particular card in the kit has all these little postage pieces on here. And this card was just a little bit busy for me. So I took all these postage pieces off of there. And that's how I created most of my alternate designs, was just to use these postage pieces, either just use one on the card or use a combination of a couple of them on the card. And then this blue floral I used for a different card. So I'll show you those when we're done with these. But basically what I did is I cut up an envelope from the kit, and I cut it at 4 7/8 by 1.5. So I cut two pieces. So these are 1.5 inches wide. They're about 4 7/8 inch long. And so these are just going to go right across um, the card front here. So when you cut up your envelopes, you can use the flap, you can use the main design on the envelope, the one on the front of the envelope. You can use all the pieces to create some alternate designs. But I guess for some reason I was drawn to the blue ones because I used mostly blue ones. So let's move this down a little bit. All right, so I left a little more space in between here. So that's basically what your background design is. And we're gonna switch now to some old olive ink. So that's what I used for the stamping on these cards. So let me just quickly clean my stamps here. Get the pink off of there. All right, so those are clean. And let's go ahead and stamp some of these images on here using this old olive. So let's start at the top. We'll use this big postage image. I don't even know what this is called, but so we'll add that up there. And then we'll add our little airmail down on the bottom here. And then we'll add those little hearts. Excuse me. All right, so that is the basic stamping that I did. And then I just used some, I guess I used up some scrap pieces that I had. So this one is about 1 1/8 by 4 1/4. So this is one of the card bases from the kit. So this is just going to go right across the center. We'll just add this right in here. And then I have a piece of white cardstock, which is 2 1/4 by 3 1/2. And then I just embossed it with that beautiful, I think it's called Beautiful Pattern. You can use any embossing folder to create your embossed piece for the center. And so this is just going to go right in the middle here. And it's going to overlap onto your stamp images, some of them. And then you just add your little postage pieces from the kit. So you can make a nice little focal point with two of the postage pieces. So that's what we're doing. So it's kind of nice because there's, some coordinating blue ones, some coordinating pink ones, and just lots of different ways that you can use these little postage pieces. And then I die cut a circle again, a circle shape using the Stylish Shapes dies. And then I used this stamp image from the kit to create the little greeting piece here. So we're going to add that off to the side. So that is just another fun way that you can use those little postage shapes to create another card. This is another one of my favorite cards. I have a lot of favorites in this kit. And I just realized I forgot to put the flower on this last card. I got so excited with the doily, I forgot to add this flower because it's laying here and I'm like, where'd that come from? So let's go ahead and add this floral in the center here of our little doily card. Okay, now it's complete. So now it's complete. All right, so was it card number 3, right? Is that what we're on? And then this fourth card idea, there's this very large postage piece that comes in the kit, and it comes with just a slightly smaller card base. So the card base fits, the front of the card is where this postage piece is adhered. So it's got like a little slightly smaller piece, but the actual postage size is your normal A2 size card. So we're going to use it as is for this particular card. So I've already adhered it. We're going to just use this card base as is. And I have a couple different pieces that I cut. So we will add these pieces. I have a 1.5 by 4.5 inch piece of an envelope, which I just put on the left side of this large postage piece. So we'll add that. Oop. We'll add this right here. And then we'll do some stamping. So let me find my stuff. I'm still using that old olive ink. And we will go right about here. Stamp that one. And let's add our airmail at the top. Oop. I think that's all. And then for this card, what I did is I actually used the coordinating dies. So each paper pumpkin kit, they launch 3 months worth of kits that you can use these dies for. So this January kit, I used this large postage die that is in the Beautiful Blooms die. And that's how I created this postage piece for this card. But these dies will coordinate now with the February and the March kit as well. So I'll hang on to those. So that's where I created this die cut shape. And then I just embossed it with that, that embossing folder, Beautiful Patterns. So that's going to be for the background. And then I cut a blueberry bushel piece, which is 2 3/4 by 2.5. And so this piece is just going to get adhered behind this large or smaller postage, I guess. So let's just go ahead and add this right away. I'll put this right in the middle. So the blueberry bushel is one of the colors in this particular kit, the different darker blue sections on the flowers and things like that. So let's add this to our card front. Oh, well, we're going to end up cutting off some of this, but that's all right. Should have stamped it down a little further. And then I used one of the postage pieces from that uh, from this card. So this is that postage piece up at the top there. So we're just using it individually instead of making a cluster of little postage stamps. And so this is just going to go right on the front. And I just left it as is. You could add, um, you could use the stamp set and add additional greetings or something on the card front, but I just left it simple. All right, so that is the fourth card. So I'll bring these back. If you've just joining me, these are um, the four cards. So let's do this. These are the two that coordinate together. Here's the card I just put together. And then this is the other one. So there's four alternate designs for you. And then I also have a couple other alternate designs. So let me show you those. So just another way, like here I used two postage uh, stamps as a focal point. Here I did the same thing. I just did it in pink instead of in blue. And I changed the orientation of the cards. So I just have a little bit of pattern paper or the kit card base on the side here. And I created my focal point with some embossing behind it. So I'll get all the measurements out on my blog for you guys, but I just wanted to show you just another alternate way that you could use these postage pieces. And then the blue florals that are in the kit. So this blue floral design, here it is. Actually, the kit design shows you to put this blue floral over all these postage stamps. And as I mentioned, it was just a little too busy for me. I like to be able to see all of my pieces. I like them to be showcased. So that's what I did here is I actually die cut. I used that beautiful blooms die, this one, and I die cut that out of the center of this white cardstock piece. And then I embossed the frame to use on this card, and I embossed the cutout piece to use on this card. So I actually created two cards with just this one piece of white cardstock. I hope that makes sense. So that's another way that you can use those blue florals that are in the kit. And what else do I have here? Where did my other one? I have one more. I just have to find it. Oh, here it is. And then the other piece that's in the kit is this very large floral design. It has these large leaves and, of course, the pink flower. So I just cut apart one of these green envelopes. So the background for this floral is this green envelope that has this pre-printed postage piece on it. So when you cut this apart, you want to make sure you cut it to 5.5 by 4.25, so it covers the entire cardstock. Because I'm just using white cardstock on the inside. And then I just added the floral and stamped a couple images. So just a different way that you can use that very large floral from the kit. So let's see if I can get these on there. All right, so those are the designs that I wanted to share with you guys today. And I hope that you got some inspiration from this video. And if you haven't put together your kit yet, now you have a variety of different ways that you can use your kit differently to create additional cards. So like I said at the beginning, the kit gives you enough supplies to create 9 cards. But if you use the kit pieces differently, you can create up to 25 cards, which is actually pretty close to what I am going to be creating as soon as I finish using all of my supplies. So, so you could stretch your kit from 9 cards to, let's say, 20 to 25. So that's a pretty big stretch. It's a great way to use your paper pumpkin kit, to use it differently and make a lot of cards. So I did link in the description with this video. If you're not a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, you can learn more about Paper Pumpkin. You can also go check out some of the past Paper Pumpkin kits, which I have on my blog, if you are interested in those. Otherwise, I think that is what I wanted to share with you guys. Like I said, I hope these card ideas have inspired you to look at your kit and play with it a little bit differently than what it was intended. So, all right, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day and a great week. And I will see you guys next week. Take care, everybody.